Hi, Mark Semigo, FL Legal Group, your PIP attorneys, here to talk to you today about UM or uninsured motorist coverage. Now, before we start talking about that, just a reminder, you know from our lovely and talented marketing staff in the past that you've gotten fee schedule books every year to give you updates of the new amounts that Medicare has approved for different treatments that you may be doing in certain codes. And this year is no different. The 2021 books are out, but they are electronic, can be found on our website, www.fllegalgroup.com. Go there, check out the new rates. And remember, if you get a bill that is not paid at 80% of what you billed, send that file to us. We might be able to find you a few cents. We may be able to find you a lot of dollars. Send it to us. Let us try to help you. Now, trying to help you, let's also talk about UM coverage, uninsured motorist. What is it? Do you have it? Do you want it? Well, on that last one, I can tell you, yes, you want it. More importantly, you want your patients to have it. And most importantly, you want them to tell you that they have it before they get into a crash. Why is that? Because unfortunately, it is a bad conversation that I have had as an attorney with lots of folks over the years that they don't have coverage, and the person that hit them caused a massive amount of injuries but has no assets, no coverage, and isn't collectible. That's a bad conversation to have, and it's a conversation that you want to talk to people about before they get into a crash. So let's talk about it. coverage, what is it? So, as you know, in Florida, we've got PIP. Personal injury protection is something that is a no-fault coverage. Regardless of fault, someone can get medical treatment up to $10,000 and even more if they buy additional coverage. Well, kind of falls into that additional coverage part. If someone buys what we call bodily injury coverage and they hurt somebody else, that can apply and provides additional basis of coverage. But unfortunately in Florida, the bare minimum you got to have is just $10,000 of PIP and $10,000 of property damage. Now, if you want to protect yourself, your family, and if you want your patients to do the same thing, you want to make sure that they buy Now, Phil and I are often talking that we're almost insurance salesmen because we're talking about all the time with our staff, with our friends, with our family. And it is something that it's existed in Florida law for a long time. It's available, but it just doesn't get the publicity. And part of that's because the insurance companies don't like to sell it. They have to sell it under the law, but they don't like to sell it. Now, what does it do and when does it come into play? So let's take a usual crash that happens every single day in the state of Florida. Somebody runs into somebody from behind at a stoplight. Well, if I'm driving my car and I'm hit from behind, I've got my own coverage. The car behind me, in theory, has some coverage too. Now, if they have bodily injury coverage on that car and I'm hurt, well, my PIP will come into play first. And then when that PIP exhausts, we'll look to their bodily injury coverage. Now, sometimes the bodily injury coverage is there, and it can be sold in increments as small as $10,000 per person, but it doesn't have to be there because Florida does not mandate bodily injury coverage. Now, you all may know that's something that's being discussed in the legislature right now, unfortunately with a tie to getting rid of PIP, but that's a discussion for another day, and we'll certainly talk with you about that when and if that happens. But let's just say that car that hits me has some coverage, some bodily injury coverage. Well, that's great, but do they have enough? That's the next question that we turn to. And if I am hit from behind and I have to go to the emergency room and I have a fractured vertebra in my spine and I have to get surgery, if they got $10,000 of coverage, that's not going to be enough. Do they have assets? Probably not. They teach us back in law school that you buy insurance to protect your assets. Now, some people do it, some people don't. They just buy what they think they have to have. They rely upon things that are said by insurance agents that, hey, you've got full coverage, not really knowing what that means. And unfortunately, we see every day that there's commercials that all the insurance companies are just talking about lower price, lower price, lower price. Well, unfortunately, lower price means less coverage usually. So let's just say that in that situation I was talking about, that they hit me from behind. I have to get some kind of back surgery as a result of it. And I'm now in a position that I've got hundreds of thousands of dollars of medical bills as a result. Now, if there's a situation where I don't have UM coverage, I'm going to hope that I've got some health insurance to cover me, but that's not necessarily going to be enough when there's situations that, for the rest of my life, I'm crippled, maimed, or unable to go back to work. So we would look at UM coverage. And so this is something that you buy in addition to bodily injury coverage, and you take it and you put it on top of anything that the driver that's at fault has. And what we say in Florida law is the uninsured motorist coverage stands in the shoes, big word, stands in the shoes of the bodily injury, or I'm sorry, the tortfeasor that causes the crash. Now, how much UM do you carry? Well, you can carry as much or as little as you want. Now, it may be that you're carrying the same amount of bodily injury coverage that you have, or it may be that you're carrying less. It's really a choice, and it's an economic choice. And, going back to us almost being insurance salesmen, we tell people buy as much UM as you can afford, because unfortunately, if you need to call upon it, it's probably not a good day. And the UM is not super expensive. It is something that if you're buying bodily injury coverage to protect you, if you're hurting someone else, you need to be buying it to protect you and your assets for UM purposes in case somebody hurts you. So that UM stands in the shoes. Now, if it's something that you buy and you match your bodily injury coverage, it can be up to $500,000 of coverage. It's something that is there to make sure that once that somebody else causes something that hurts you or your family, that you are protected. Now, it's even more of an interesting issue that you can buy something called stacked or non-stacked UM. Now, that's a really interesting thing to use, because stacked UM means that you can take whatever you've bought for UM and carry that with you to another vehicle if you happen to be in a friend's car. Or say your insurance policy that you carry has 4 cars on it, and all 4 of those cars have UM. You get to take 1, 2, 3, 4 limits and add them all together. So it's a real beneficial thing to protect you and expand your coverages when you need it most. And that's the problem that unfortunately happens, because we find out far too often, that there are people that are hurt and hurt badly that just don't have UM coverage. They buy it after we've had a discussion with them about it, and they talk about it and understand what it is, but unfortunately people just don't realize it. So we thought it would be a good idea to tell you and suggest to you that, you've got patients that aren't in motor vehicle crashes, and it's a good thing to suggest to them, hey, maybe you want to make sure you've got this in the future before something happens, because it is imperative that you have some kind of coverage to protect you. Anecdotally, I've had cases where I've seen millions of dollars of medical bills and no coverage whatsoever. No UM, no BI, no nothing. That's not going to help get bills paid. It's not going to help get you paid, and it's going to cause all sorts of problems for families that unfortunately are probably going to become wards of the state as a result of the medical debt that they're going to have to face. So UM helps a lot of things. It helps the person who's hurt most of all. It helps you in making sure that your bills get paid, because if that insurance company makes the payment like it should, and that person's represented, you're going to get your payment as well. Now, there may be some issues there, and you all already know that if you have a dispute with an attorney over a fee issue, give us a call. We'll try to help that out. That's part of the services that we extend to you as your PIP attorneys. But the big thing is having that discussion before a crash happens, because after doesn't do you any good. And it only serves to help you, to help make sure that you can give good treatment and that you can get paid for that good treatment that you provided. So if you have questions on it, take some time, give us a call, talk to me, talk to Phil, talk to any of our marketing folks. Happy to answer questions on it and try to do what we can to make sure that this situation gets addressed and helps folks in the future and gets this done. So this is Mark Semigo. If you guys have got questions, reach out to me, www.fllegalgroup. Don't forget to check out the new fee schedule book, and we'll see you out there on the roads. Talk to you soon. Bye.